All right, I promise you that I don't wear the same shirt every single day or look the same thing every day. This is just the same video, or the different video on the same day. So we're now into July. Like I promised, and get caught up. Last month we were all in France. I went to France and Spain with my wonderful partner in life, Jessica. And there we wined and dined our way through some of the most beautiful areas of the world. To study Burgundy for so long and to be able to drive through those vineyards, to see those great vineyards that I've coveted for so long, and to see how the terroir looks, I can actually walk through that now. And it's very exciting for me as a wine person and someone that loves wine so much to be able to really dig into that whole aspect of seeing it, of putting your hands on it. So it's a very fun time. The French menu was extremely well received. We just started the Spain menu, which we'll do a Spain tasting the next one, which is very exciting. But yeah, let's dig into some French wines. Once again, if you've had one or two of these, don't worry. It's not often that we repeat, or ever really, but on this one, these are some of our great, kind of giving you a broad spectrum of French wine, I think in a very cool way. Let's get started. We'll be working with our little friends at Pierre Close Imports right now. This is his parents' wine. How cool is that? We get to buy from the family itself. This is a Cremant de Bourgogne, which is a sparkling wine made from Chardonnay in Burgundy. This is a really fun thing. Domaine Côtes des Margaux. So like I said, this is Paul's parents that make this wine. It's delicious. This is what we pour you when you come into the restaurant, if you have a celebration or something like that. It's just one of those delicious wines. It's not champagne. Obviously, a lot of people talk about champagne when they're talking about wines from California or from other areas of the world. Champagne has to be from Champagne, France. Cremants are from other areas in France that are doing sparkling wine. There's a lot of Cremant de Loire, which is Loire Valley sparkling wine. Cremant de Provence, so Provençal sparkling wines. And it's really, really nice to taste Burgundy, which we're so used to drinking in its white and red formats, into something like a sparkling wine. On the nose, you do smell Chardonnay, which is kind of nice. You get those like baked apple quality. People swirl sparkling wine. Exactly, you need to. If you really want to get more of the nose. Now, if you swirl it too long, you could, deflate some of your bubbles. But for the most part, I smell first and then swirl to incorporate air, and then smell again to see how the wine changes. Might be something you want to try. So this is so beautiful. It's crisp. At the same time, it gives you enough mouthfeel to really give you a long finish. Definitely getting pear and apple. Pears are in season right now. I could definitely do some sort of maybe pear and chili puree or something like that, along with a nice roasted piece of fish, or maybe some shellfish would be delicious with this as well. You could drink this with oysters, just like you would champagne. Fried chicken, which is funny because that's a very big sommelier thing. Fried chicken and champagne, fatty things, and then bubbles to cleanse your palate. My whole idea behind that, the reason why I don't necessarily love that pairing, is that you're cleansing your palate. So for me, if you have something fatty and rich on your palate, and then you hit it with a bunch of bubbles and high acid, you're going to end up cleaning your palate completely, which means you're not really going to be tasting any part of the food that you were just eating. If that's what you want, then I guess it works fine. But for me, I prefer pairings that allow both the food and wine to continue speaking throughout the finish. So yeah, for me, absolutely. This is an easy wine to drink. It's very fun. Get it very cold so it doesn't explode when you open it. And support a little tiny family winemaker, in a little area. So it is Blanc de Blanc, meaning 100%. It spends 11 months on lees, so that's where you get that kind of a little bit more stronger bread kind of characteristic, is the long aging on lees. Delicious wine, so fun. Hope you enjoy. So Sauvignon Blanc, that's kind of, I think we did a comparison of Sauvignon Blancs. Maybe it was this one, maybe it was another French one, I can't remember. But nonetheless, Le Sec de Rennes, Le Sec des Rennes Vignoux is from Bordeaux. This is a dry white wine from the area that does a large production of the Sauternes, which is the sweet wine coming from the Bordeaux area. It is 100% Sauvignon Blanc, so you get a lot of those characteristics, but it's a little bit more restrained, I think, than the Sauvignon Blancs from the super aromatic areas of Australia and New Zealand, which are much colder. Even though this is not a warm climate, it is not as cold as those areas. So here's where we get to talk about a very fun tasting note, or tasting smell that I think that a lot of sommeliers use, which is the words cat piss. Sound disgusting? Kind of is. I just got 2 cats, by the way, but nonetheless, it has that kind of quality to it in the best way, which is hard to imagine, but I promise you, it has certain characteristics like that. This is a rich smelling Sauvignon Blanc. It does not smell like it's just light and fruity and very herbaceous or very floral. This smells a little bit richer, a little bit deeper. I'm getting like some layers of very deep like fermentation of lines, of things like that. It's a very fun nose. I think I could probably smell this for a couple of hours and continue getting more and more out of it, that I could say, now I taste this, and now I taste this, or smell this. It's a very fun wine to smell, so definitely, if I were you, I would maybe drink most of it, leave some to bring it up to room temperature, and then smell it again, because as it gets colder, it's gonna show less and less and less of what's special about it. But on the mouth, it's delicious. It's very fun wine to drink. You get these almost like hard candy qualities of, like, I don't know how the name of the candy is escaping me right now, but almost like sweet tarts, kind of. And not sweet like sugary, but like that kind of profile of that very tart fruit with a sweet background to it. For me, this is a perfect pairing for a Caesar salad. I think that'd be fantastic with some of the anchovies on there, a nice, rich, salty, garlicky dressing, and some nice, crisp, fresh, slightly bitter lettuce. This does have a little bit of phenolic bitterness on the end, which is very common when you're talking about Sauvignon Blanc. But yeah, looks like the Bienvenue. Fantastic Bordeaux Sauvignon Blanc. Pairing it with what we talked about and having a lot of fun with a Sauvignon Blanc that's vastly different from what you're probably used to. Pretty cool. Now we're going to spend a little extra time talking about this guy, Thierry Drouin. This is also from Paul, from Pierre Close Imports. Very small producer. He knows these guys personally. And they are in Pouilly Fusse, which is getting into the southern areas of Burgundy now. The reason that I'm so excited for you guys to have this bottle is that 2020 is the first time in Pouilly Fusse's history that they've been able to put Premier Cru on their bottle. Now, if you don't know the politics in Burgundy, they're pretty ridiculous. Some of the great Premier Crus should be Grand Crus. Some of the Grand Crus shouldn't be Grand Crus. Some of the established vineyards should definitely be Premier Cru. So Thierry Drouin here is bottling his first ever Premier Cru this year, just handed down, 2020. This is Sur La Roche. A beautiful vineyard by a beautiful maker. We've had plenty of Thierry Drouin wines in here before. He makes iconic Chardonnays to me. And by iconic, I don't mean like, super well known. I just mean the idea of what Burgundy, to me, should taste like. Now, it's different for every person. As I've mentioned plenty of times in my videos, I am not claiming to be an incredible sommelier. I just love wine so much. I'm a chef. I cook. I love wine to go with that food that I do cook. And I've just kind of fallen in love learning about wine. So that's what this whole wine club is about, is learning together. But the idea that we get to taste for the first time a Premier Cru from an area that never had it, just think about that. Think about you're a farmer, and all of a sudden your vegetables get classed as some of the best in the world. All of a sudden everyone wants it. It's such a neat thing for a small producer like Thierry in an area like that has never had Premier Cru vineyards before. It's just very exciting. So love the idea of supporting him and Paul at Pierre Close. This has that rich, appley, kind of like almost baked in and semi-fermented peach Very, very Chardonnay. Obviously, it's 100% Chardonnay, but it just reeks of it. It's so beautiful. It's got a very stony mineral quality to it on the nose that is just very appealing as well. Very beautiful. Oh, it's so good. It is so good. This was served with wild king salmon, squash, and Dijon mustard. Don't not do that. Get some nice fresh salmon, cook it lightly, leave it a little bit raw in the center. Some nice roasted squash, no grill. Usually I like to pair grilled things with stuff like Chardonnay. This one, keep it fresh, keep it clean, dress it with some basil, and then get a mustard sauce on that fish. I just think that those three things together just make a pairing with this wine that is so exceptional and so fun. This has enough acid to tend with the richness of the salmon. It also has enough depth and richness to pair with the Dijon and the tang. It's just a beautiful wine, and I think it's a beautiful dish. This was by far one of the favorite pairings of everyone last month, and I highly suggest doing it at home because it's so easy. You should be able to cook a nice piece of salmon. Once again, don't grill it. I really think this is a pan-sear or even a steam or poach, light cooking and leaving that little bit of fat in the middle. Delicious. Congratulations, Thierry Drouin, for your first Premier Cru bottling. Next, we're going to talk about one of my favorite wine producers in the world. This is Thiébaut Bourguignon. I've fallen in love with the Vallée des Loire, the Loire Valley. I think some of the best wines in the world are from this area, in my humble opinion. Les Pouillots by Petit Sévivant is one of the best Cabernet Francs I've ever had in my life. And this is one of my favorite rosés. Thiébaut has very serious holdings in the Semur-Champagny area. This one, Sauvigny's area as well, over a little bit more to the east. But this rosé is Cabernet Franc. It is an incredible wine. We had this paired up with a beautiful tomato salad with some anchovies and pine nuts. So this is kind of why I want to start pairing along the wines from the wine pairing that we do at Localis, the beverage pairing, to the wine club. Now, obviously, some of them I can't. They're just way too expensive to put on, but we will offer those to you guys in lieu of not being able to put it on here. But this wine we can and we should, because you need to taste this man's wines. And if you get into his single vineyard Chenin Blancs and Cabernet Francs, they are quite literally some of the most delicious wines that you'll ever taste. So I hope that you get some other ones, but here we go with this, which is his rosé. Super traditional. I definitely get strawberry. I definitely get tomato. I definitely get a little bit of brininess, which, the salinity kind of quality of the sea, not necessarily salt, but definitely the briny quality, maybe capers, olives, those kind of things. On the palate, so refreshing, so inspired. It just has an incredible way of gripping your palate without being a dense wine. Now, I probably say a lot of oxymoron kind of things, but to me, there's a beautiful balance in a wine like this that has fruit quality and acid to back up the fruit, so it's not overly fruit forward or sweet in some people's terms. But at the same time, it has this very rich minerality to it that levels out everything. The acidity sits right in the center of the whole profile, meaning that it doesn't take or lack anything in the wine. It's just a delicious wine, and I highly suggest a pairing with that, just like we would at the restaurant. Nice little tomato salad, heavy on the beautiful olive oil, a little bit of salt, and then something salty and rich. We used Kalamata olives and boquerones or white anchovies. You could use capers, you could use caper berries, you can use a lot of different salinity kind of things, but pickles and brined vegetables, I think, with some tomato is a match made in heaven. There's beautiful tomatoes coming out right now in Sacramento. So since you're all around here, I highly suggest doing a tomato salad and really killing it on this pairing. Do a dinner party, pretend like you came up with this wine and this pairing and rock it out, because holy smokes, everyone's gonna know that this and this goes together. Pretty fun. Thank you, Thiébaut. Next one, once again, giving you guys a little bonus. This wine doesn't really belong at the price profile of our wine club, but that's how we do things here at Localis. This is Santenay Wieswein's Pinot Noir from Burgundy. Santenay is a little village getting down into the southern area of the Grand Cru area of Burgundy. Wiesweins meaning old vines, 40 years or older for this bottling. 2017 is the vintage. This is G. Monteau, who is the wonderful rep that sent me to Les Soufflot in Meursault, Burgundy, which was hands down one of the best meals that we had in the entirety of France. If you're ever in that area, highly suggest it. Chef there, Jeremy, I'm trying to get him out here in February to do a little engagement with me here at Localis, but holy smokes, was that place amazing. And once again, just getting back to Burgundy is just such a beautiful thing. Cannot wait to go again. On the nose, quintessential Pinot Noir from Burgundy. It's got all sorts of red food qualities to it. It's also got a serious herbaceousness. There are some light green notes in there, as well as some very mushroomy, forest flory kind of qualities. I think that's the beauty of balance that Pinot Noir from Burgundy provides, is just the all-encompassing fruit, acidity, minerality, earthiness, just all around encompassing, very well balanced. I mean, get out of here. This wine is ridiculous. I hope that you love this as much as I do. It's drinking gorgeous right now. It's not too young. I mean, we're looking at 5 years now, which is not very old. Some of these, Burgundian wines can last for decades, but this is ready to drink. And pop it soon. Don't save it. I mean, it's not a super expensive bottle either, but don't get caught up in how much it costs, because you're just paying for it through the wine club. So open it and drink it with someone that you think will appreciate it. This wine is spectacular. It's everything you want out of Pinot Noir. I don't really need to go into the details about all of it. If you've had Pinot Noir, this will be close to the top of some of the ones that you've had, I'm sure. As far as pairing goes, it's pretty easy. It's very broad. You can go anywhere from a rich fish dish with some mushrooms and stuff like that, all the way up to like braised pork. You could do grilled pork with this. Seasonality wise, right now, you get away with doing some grilled or high temperature sauteed green beans, along with like a pork chop that's been brined for a day or so, and finished off with some sort of fruit kind of compote quality that I think would really bring the whole dish together. It's exceptional. It's amazing. It's just really good. I really hope you like this wine as much as I do, because it kind of puts me at a loss of words. I just want to drink the wine. Cool. So we're getting to the end now. And staying, of course, in France and working with a French winemaker that we are ever so excited about. This is Chateau and Thonic. They're 2016. They're in the Médoc, which is traditionally heavy for Cabernet Sauvignon blends. But here we have a Merlot. It's almost all Merlot, a little bit of Cabernet Sauvignon, a little bit of Cabernet Franc, and a tiny amount of Petit Verdot. They are a biodynamic organic producer, meaning they use nothing in their vineyards or in their winemaking practices that isn't 100% natural, following strict guidelines for the biodynamic vineyards, including burying, horns and stuff like that to the soils. There's a lot of mystique behind biodynamic production of wines, but for me, I think it makes a difference. I think you taste it in the wines. Hopefully you agree. The cool part about this small winery is we put them on the pairing. We got kind of to know them. I got to meet the son, the winemaker, and we are going to have a vertical of their wines from the early 70s all the way to current vintage. So it's going to be very exciting to showcase a small producer that I think doing incredible wines, that's really kind of focused on making delicious wines that are going to last for a long time and that are having a low impact on the earth. So that being said, very rich and inky, light oak. This isn't a heavily oaked wines like a lot of Bordeaux wines can be. When you start smelling this, you start wanting to talk like a sommelier. There's leathery qualities in here like crazy. I get a little bit of like graphite, like pencil, shavings almost on the nose. Very dark black red fruit. And on the palate, it's everything you want in a Bordeaux and nothing that you don't. It's grape forward, meaning that you taste more of the grape varietal and less of the man-made qualities like oak and things like that. I know this sees some neutral, but nothing serious. You don't get it on the palate at all. It is the perfect balance for a ribeye steak with some freshly dug new potatoes that are in season right now. You can get away with things like roasted broccoli and stuff like that that is pyrazine heavy. This does have a decent amount of pyrazines in it. I think the Cabernet Franc, as light as it is, gives way to some beautiful green notes. This is a beautiful wine by people that are really passionate about the earth and about making wines. It's definitely great for food. I couldn't tell you enough about how much this wine really showed me that my kind of negligence in Bordeaux is completely not deserved. I need to be spending more time in Bordeaux, so we'll probably see some more Bordeaux wines on the wine clubs coming up. That being said, thank you again for joining our wine club. Please leave any comments about anything that you'd like to see, like to hear, like to taste, things that we could change and get better at. We're always trying to do what we can. This is for you guys, and we hope that you enjoy. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you for the Spain wines in about a month.